I had to stop this like 3 times. I've just gotten so heated throughout this entire discussion. Let me try to do this again. Hello, how are you? My name is Margaret Angel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really do appreciate it. Today's topic is just so incredibly, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. It's just so far-fetched. It's so disgusting. It's so angering, all done in the name of just this blind gaze of Christianity and fear-mongering women. I'm tired of it. I was a part of it for a very long time, well over a decade in my life. Not proud of it, but at the same time, I was coerced because of the Catholicism that I was raised in. There's so much to unpack here, and we need to have a discussion because I think I am the perfect person to illustrate this argument. And although I'm a little bit nervous to put this out there, it is what it is. If people leave, they leave. Like, I can't do anything about that. You know, you have the choice to leave this channel if you want to. So let's just get into it. Fuck it, let's go. Hey, hot girl, what's up? So if you're new here, hello, my name is Margaret Angel. I talk about things that are on my mind. I talk about failed business practices. If that interests you in any way, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on this video. I never say that, I know. But please do, just because I need this to be boosted, because I know YouTube is going to play with me, especially because I'm a smaller channel too. So that would mean a lot if you were able to do that.
Thank you very much.
So last week I was going to upload a video about the LaBrant family and the documentary that they put out about the procedure. Now, we all know what I'm talking about and put the word right here. But again, with YouTube and their practices, I'm just going to refer to that as the procedure, okay? Because it is a medical procedure. So they made a documentary about the procedure to just fearmonger women out of their own medical decisions in the name of God, which we're going to get into that in the second half of this video, but I'm going to give you just a brief background. The father's name is Cole, mama's name is Savannah. They have 3 kids and counting. Now, they make this documentary because they are Christian family vloggers, and they make it with the preface that they want women to know that they have other choices out there, as if that wasn't something that was already common knowledge, but okay. So they preface it with saying that they were going to be donating the AdSense that they make from that video to pregnancy centers, which is very interesting because those same pregnancy centers are doing exactly what they're doing and trying to, you know, basically instill the fear of God, instill religion, instill, oh, you're going to be so regretful, yada yada. That's what these pregnancy centers do. It's not like you're there and you're getting a comprehensive exam or getting blood work done or getting updates with your pregnancy. It's none of that. It's people that are basically self-ordained life coaches using religion to marginalize how you feel and push you in their direction. So that's what those AdSense dollars were going towards, in case anybody was interested. It's not like you were donating, obviously, to Planned Parenthood or anyone that actually cares about women. You know, it's all about in the name of the Lord and God that they choose to serve, which is their choice. All of this is about choice. I digress. I'm getting off my soapbox with that. The documentary opens up and automatically my blood is boiling, okay? Woo! It starts off with all of these asinine statistics between mass casualty events in history versus the number of these medical procedures that have happened. So they're basically trying to say, if you look numerically, in their eyes, more casualty has happened on the procedural side versus events of genocide in history. Okay. Let's just say, right off the rip, there is no justifiable reason or comparison between actual mass casualty events in history like the Holocaust or the Armenian genocide or slavery. There's nothing you can say about that versus this medical procedure. One of those is someone getting on their high horse and many people assuming this omnipotent authoritative power over people and then choosing to pick and choose who lives and who goes, right? So there's that versus a woman that has to make a decision for her own body. What's the similarity? What's the similarity? Because see, you missed me already. You missed me already. As disgusting as those moments were, that has nothing to do with present day. As far as this topic goes, nothing. Not a word. It has no weight, it has no bearing. Me making a medical decision for myself for whatever reason that I need to make that medical decision is not the same thing as me playing Hitler. How the fuck does that even equate? Where do they even come up with this stuff? It's astonishing that this whole thing is even an argument. All people have to do is mind their fucking business, but you know, here we are. So these live, laugh, love vultures put out this documentary, you know, with the hopes of truly protecting life. But can they actually say the same in their own household? Oh yeah, I'm going there. I'm going there. We're going straight to the parenting. You know, I'm not big on that because I really do believe that people do have the right within reason to parent how they want to parent. But girl, the hypocrisy is twerking. Protecting life. Okay, let's stop talking about the procedure for a moment. Talk about how exploiting your kid on the internet is a bad thing. Let's talk about how using your kid for clicks on YouTube is a thing. Okay, let's film our kids in the most vulnerable moments in their lives where they're crying and they're distraught because that's protecting life. Okay, let's talk about the fact that these people clickbaited their daughter having cancer. Let's talk about that. All of this in the name of entertainment and money that these kids do not even have legal access to. They have no rights to, but they are being used weekly for vlogs, for entertainment, for clickbait. Kids that cannot even consent to being filmed. There are no rights when it comes to kids on YouTube. Family vlog channels are booming. People love to see families interact, and to some degree, I can respect that. A lot of people don't have strong family values in their own families, so when they see it, you know, advertised for them, they're going to click on that, and they have this parasocial relationship, right? They wish that was them, or they could just be happy for the people on TV. It works either way, right? I'm not saying it's inherently evil, don't get me wrong, but what I mean is that there's a lot of exploitation that goes with family vloggers. Period. So it's odd that they say that they want to protect life, but then the lives that they have that are living and breathing, they choose to clickbait using cancer as a reference, but then turn around and tell women that they need to make better decisions when it comes to life. Bitch! But please tell me how you want to save the babies, yet you exploit the fuck out of your own kids. Mind your own sins. I mean, they went so far even to have a pro-life doctor involved in this, right? And this man, I think Smokey Glow made a mention of this in her video too, but this man said there's never been a medical reason for a woman to have to terminate the pregnancy. This man, who is a doctor, who should be stripped of his fucking medical license, said that there is no reason for a woman to ever have to have an abortion, which in itself is just so infuriating because a normal layperson knows that that's absolute fucking baloney. You ever heard of an ectopic pregnancy? It's when basically the pregnancy is not viable or the pregnancy is stuck into the fallopian tubes. You know what happens to a woman if she does not have that pregnancy removed from her body? You know what? And there's no heartbeat in there, sis. You know what happens? You go into septic shock. Your organs realize that there's a foreign object here that's either dead or not supposed to be here, period. And it's going to start an ejecting process. But if you cannot eject, your body is going to start attacking itself. Okay? That's how you go into septic shock. It's basically when your immune response goes into overload. So to say that there's never been a medical reason, I am so frightened for any woman, just a pregnant woman in general that would be in his office. Think about the information that he would give them. The medical world is not divided with conservatives and liberals. Is ridiculous. That's one area that should always be bipartisan. One area, and this quack of a doctor that they featured on this documentary really put his stupid ass up there talking about there's no medical reason for a woman to get the procedure. You see how that works? You feature a doctor, so you automatically think, wow, this is someone that's reputable, but it's someone that's fitting that pro-life narrative, someone that's fitting that agenda. You see what I'm saying? And if you're somebody that hasn't been on both sides or that hasn't taken the time to really look at both sides, you're going to be easily impressionable. Always take the time to educate yourself before you make concise decisions and make sure it's medically based. What that man was saying, although he has MD after his name, he is a dumb ass. MD for him is major dumbass, okay? Not medical doctor, straight up. So always make the best informed decisions, even when you see that somebody has credentials by them, all right? Just a pro tip. All right, thank you very much. Now, one thing I've learned from our Jesus in the Bio group is this omnipotent energy, right? This control that these people think that they have over people that are either not Christian or don't have the same views as they do. It is astonishing to me the amount of, oh, well, you know, if you don't think this way, you're going to hell. Oh, you're gay, hell. You know, trans, hell. Or double hell for you. If it is against what they believe, right? Because I was always taught Jesus loved everybody. But I mean, I guess in today's world, he came down on a day, you know, maybe it was a Monday. I overslept when Jesus came and told us that the conservative agenda is the only one to follow. You know, I had no idea. I missed the meeting that day to go see Jesus. Because apparently it's either that way or the highway. You know, they use that false ideology to misguide people and to lead them astray onto that road. Meanwhile, their own houses are in shambles. Meanwhile, they're going through X, Y, and Z in their own lives. And tell you the truth, we all got that, right? We all have things that we're going through. But you project this image that everything is so perfect. It's just like these MLM people, right? They broke as fuck. They are broke as fuck. Putting out all these stories, all this stuff saying, wow, you can make this much. You can make this much. I know because I did it. You can make an extra $300 a month. I barely made $100 in 6 months I was with It Works. It's all the same shit, right? It's all the smoke and mirrors. Putting something forward saying, oh, well, you know, you could be like this if you just act like me. You see the closeted agenda with this? You see how disruptive and disgusting this is? Your own home is in shambles. Focus on that, not women's bodies. I don't care that you know 5 commandments in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in order. Girl, get the Your religious freedom is your freedom, but it doesn't have to be predatory. People have the right to be indifferent from you. People have the right to make decisions for their own bodies. It is not your job to police that. It is not your job to put on the cloak of crosses and try to tell somebody else what the fuck to do in their own homes. That's not your place. If you want to keep holy the Sabbath, girlfriend, that's on you. If you believe that all of this is wrong, okay, I respect your beliefs. But if you infringe upon others, you're trash for that. I mean, my thing is, if you believed in God, in God's will, okay, follow me here, you would know he's a God of love. You would know he's a God of honor. You would know he's a God of respect. What you doing? That means that whatever somebody's going through, I would think that people that really are Christian would come from a place of love, genuine love, okay? For whatever that person is going through, not to lead them in another direction, okay? But to love them where they are. To respect where they are, to honor the person that they are. That includes women that have had these procedures done. That includes people that are gay. That includes trans people. That includes people that may or may not do life like you do. And they have every right to do it. Just how you have every right to Bible push and be annoying, and that's just my opinion, sorry. Every right to do that. They have every right to do whatever they choose to with their own bodies, with their partners, to get married, to live their lives, to have their pronouns respected, etc. God didn't ask you to terrorize people. He asked you to be a person of love. He asked you to love as he loved. Can you do that? And don't give me any buts. I do that, but see, you just fell into that category. What you're doing essentially is using your own prejudices, your own dislikes, in the name of God to make it seem like you're doing the right thing because you're so scared of going to hell. I cracked your code. I know because I lived that code for a long time. And I'm telling you, you're just going to go down a hill of despair and arguments that are just so incredibly unnecessary. Because when you see the other side of that slope, when you see that there are other people over here that have feelings that need to be respected, bodily autonomy that needs to be respected, especially in the eyes of the court, when you see on that other hill that people are here and they're not going anywhere and they have every right to do what they want, your mind view kind of skews a little bit. You start to realize, oh, there are things that are a little bit out of my control. Oh, wow, people live differently than me. You see, you're going to go through those steps. And then eventually, hopefully, you will see that, yeah, the world is a whole lot broader than what I was taught. Whole lot broader than what I've been pushing. And then you can do some personal healing, just like I did. So let's get into that. So, a lot of you know, I mentioned it in many videos before, but if this is your first time watching me, I grew up very conservative Catholic. My mother was very involved in the Catholic Church. Obviously, I am her child. I followed suit because that's what children do. My mom has since passed on. So I don't know if her mind would have changed as time went on. I don't know. It's my son sucking the pacifier. It scared the hell out of me. The son that I made the choice to have. Okay. So growing up, I was very involved in church. My church was literally a minute and a half up the road from my house. Very involved from CCD. I was a CYO coordinator. I was an altar server for almost 10 years. I was very involved in the church. So much so that I even went to Catholic school. So from 4th grade on up, I went to Catholic school and graduated from a Catholic college. Okay, so I am very, very renowned in understanding of how Catholicism works specifically. Not as much with other religions, but the Catholic Church is the richest organization in the world. So It's really heavily influential and it's incredibly problematic. So coming up in school, they taught us to read our Bible, love thy neighbor, always be accepting of, you know, the people that love you in Christ. And that part always struck me as weird, because what if people didn't believe in God? What if people were atheist or agnostic, or they were on their own path? Like, you know, it was always weird that it was taught to me that they had to love me through Christ. I thought that was strange. And I heard that mantra all throughout my educational years, especially as a young kid. And that's kind of when my mind started to really think, like, you know, is this a cult? Which to me, you know, I'm not going to do that today. You know, I just started thinking, you know, is this cult-like? Is this what I want for myself? I had to really, and I was thinking young like that. I was thinking, you know, is this the life that I want for me? Do I want to live a life where I'm just dedicated to the church? Or do I want to live a life where I'm dedicated to self-love in here? Knowing that God loves me, but I need to love myself as well. Without the outside trying to illustrate for me what love is or tell me what I need to do. I've been involved in Catholicism and Christianity my entire life. Until recently. So much so, throughout my high school years from grade 9 to 12, I think with the exception of my sophomore year, I went to the pro-life march, the March for Life in DC. I was very adamant about it. I loved the trip every year. I would just be so excited to go. It really was a hallmark for me. I felt like it was a true stepping stone towards the right direction. So I did this year after year. Even after high school, you know, I was involved in many different organizations fighting against abortion. Very hard to talk about now just because of everything that life has thrown at me. But yeah, that was me. I was that person. I would argue people down left and right and be like, oh, no, it's murder. Like, you just need to stop being so promiscuous. Like, it's always your fault. It's always this. It's always that. I was a woman that was actively being a misogynist against women, if I'm being honest with you, because it's never the fault of you by yourself. It takes two people to do that. I would know that. That's my son smacking in the background right now. It takes two people to tango. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. It takes two people to tango. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that I was immersed in something that made me believe that women were the problem, and women need to fix their own problems by handling what they put themselves through. Knowing that that was taught to me, do you understand how disgusting that is? To be on this side and realize that that was the stuff I would preach. You know, and I hate the fact that I thought this way, but at the same time, I'm so angry with the adults that taught me all of this when I was young. That taught me as a child, basically, that I needed to be against women. That taught me as a young lady in high school going into college that I needed to be against women, against my own rights. It's always our fault, but at the same time, be proactive. Like, this whole mind fuck that is the pro-life movement is just so incredibly disgusting to me. And I can't believe I was such an active participant in it. You know, knowing what I know now, I mean, I could just throttle that, Margaret. Like, girl, get it together. Like, how could you be against yourself before everything in the name of God at the same time? You know, at the end of the day, I do believe we have a judgment day. I don't know if that's going to be God's judgment or what, but I believe there's some level of, we're going to all have to answer for whatever we've done right or wrong in our life here. But that's up to whatever omnipotent power that's above us, not people. Sure as hell not old white men creeping on death row girls sitting on the Supreme Court, especially not them. They can't police me. They shouldn't be able to. The blind defiance and obedience with this just goes straight hand in hand. We defy ourselves by obeying a rhetoric that is only made to hurt us. And I was a part of that rhetoric for a very long time. You know, for a decade in my life, 13 to 23, I can honestly say I was gung-ho a part of that. You know, I always thought, well, it's on you. Your legs, do this, do that. You have other avenues. How dare you? You should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, there was even an instance where I remember our high school, if you could get this, girl, our high school had it to where we took a field trip to the abortion clinic. We were picketing outside the abortion clinic, right next to one of those pregnancy centers that the LaBrant family was so lovingly talking about. I was out there at 14 years old with a picket sign, not knowing what the hell I was talking about. Just thinking I was saving life without thinking of the other side of the coin is the living, breathing life that's actually going through shit, right? That living, breathing life that is the woman that may or may not have consented to this from the get-go. And here I am outside with this bum-ass sign talking about, oh, you have other options. And if you would have asked me as a 14-year-old what those options were, I would have looked at my teacher that was out there with me. I would have looked at her and been like, hey, girl, I don't know what these options are. I'm just out here holding my sign. Like, it's just so incredibly stupid. It's just so dumb that I was this person. And I have so much regret about that. But at the same time, I have so much anger because of the falsified information that was fed to me. That's why this documentary has me so angry, because of the falsified information that is attacking impressionable people like I was when I was that young. Keep in mind, this is a family channel. The demographics with family channels are usually what? Kids or young teens, because now everyone wants to be a YouTuber, and I get it. Easy money, and you know, it's nice to talk to people. But at the same time, when you talk to people, you need to be sure what you're saying is accurate, because people are going to be very receptive. If someone really likes me, for example, which I don't know after this video, but if people really like me, there's going to be something about me that sticks to you, or there's going to be something I say that sticks in your mind, right? It's a parasocial relationship, and we have a responsibility when we have these parasocial relationships to put out things that are factual, to put out things that if they stick, it's going to stick the right way, not hurt somebody in the long run. It's hard to get on here and tell you who I was and to say a long time ago I would have co-signed everything they said. That blind obedience turned into blind defiance. That blind obedience, obeying something I didn't even understand, turned into blind defiance, hurting myself and other people like me. People that had the same reproductive organs that I do. All because of a religion that I was indoctrinated in, that you never fully understand to begin with. See, we always want to have these conversations about, oh, what kids can and can't hear. But what child is ready for religion, if you think about it? What child is ready for that? You know, you have Jewish people that study the Torah, which are, you know, basically 5 books that they study their entire lives. My point is that religion in itself is something that really should be expressed or explored when you're older, in my opinion. Because a young child is just going to be receptive to what you tell them. Oh, that's my right? Okay, I'm supposed to do that. Okay. They just listen to the authority above them. But what happens when the authority leads you askew? And then you're like me, damn near 30, realizing that everything you were taught essentially was either a lie or taught with a falsified agenda, which technically also is a lie. You know, you don't want to be here doing that. Now, years ago, I'm going to leave the person anonymous, but my entire life changed when a friend of mine called me literally around 2 or 3 in the morning, and there was something that happened to her. And she needed to make some decisions, and we were very close friends at the time, and I didn't know what to say. Because, see, all of this stuff is way different, you know, pro-life, pro-this, pro-that. It's way different when it hits home. It's way different when it hits home and you're watching your friend who is a victim of a violent crime cry, or, you know, on the phone cry, and ask you what their options are. What was I supposed to say? What was I supposed to do in that moment? All I could do was lay there and freeze. Right? So here I am, right? So gung-ho, vice president of the pro-life club, heavily involved with religion, blah, blah, blah. And I am faced with the reality of women. I am faced with the reality that one of my friends, my dear friend, that went through a horrific incident, and now she has to make some tough decisions and ask her friend, how do I approach that? Am I supposed to be, oh, well, you know, hey, that's on you. Couldn't do that. Not in the moment. Are you joking? I sat there and I froze. And in that moment where I froze, I realized I was wrong the whole time. It took someone close to me having something like that happen to them, and me being asked these questions that I would never ask before, for me to realize that my entire life up until that point was falsified. It took something so egregious, so heinous. I can't even get the phone call out of my mind now. It triggers me. It took all of that for me to realize that the problem itself is not people not obeying God. The problem itself is people controlling women, which leads me to the very scary thought and the very strong possibility that Roe v. Wade will be overturned. So Politico put out a draft statement, which was leaked, of course. They put out this draft statement basically saying that there is now a motion moving forward from the Supreme Court that is conservative based, pretty much, that Roe v. Wade will be overturned, which would mean that it will be up to the elected officials within your state to decide whether or not the procedure, will be legal or not. Let me make something clear. Two things. And this is a very unpopular opinion, maybe, I don't know. I'm not scared to say it. Majority of these politics in itself, especially in America, is led by men, right? You have women senators, you have women congresswomen, you have, women mayors, everything. But majority is male. Majority is male. And a lot of the push to end these procedures are from men. Men that do not share the autonomy that we do, men that are going off of religion, men that have a superiority complex, right? Authoritative mindset. They don't care about the procedure. They just want to control women. You see what I'm saying? Men are telling me what I need to do with my body. A person with male anatomy. You don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand what happened to me, if something even did happen, or if I just need to make a decision for myself. You don't understand any of that. You've never spent a second with all these hormones, the pain that goes with being a woman, the amount of emotional stress you have to have because women are more emotional. That's statistically proven. Women are more emotional. All of that. The phenomenon of being a woman itself sometimes is astonishing to me because of all the things we carry, both mentally and physically. Hell, it's a lot of pressure being a woman, period. And then you have people that have never been pregnant, can't get pregnant, telling me what the hell to do. Telling me that I don't have the right to get a medical procedure done. I mean, look at what's going on in Texas. Women that need DNC operations, having to go through all these extra ultrasounds just to prove that the pregnancy is not going to sustain. Why? Why would you put somebody through that? Why do they have to keep looking at this embryo that is not going to live or has already died? Why put them through all this extra turmoil when they could easily just get the surgery? The surgery in itself is not even 30 minutes long. She's not going to survive it. She will go into septic shock. She will die. And you have to fight your own state to give you the medical procedure that you need. You make it so much more difficult when you leave it to all these conservative states, especially in the Bible Belt, because you know they're going to flip it over. You know they're going to overturn it. And then what's going to happen? You think that's the end of it? You thought? Because they're going to come for Plan B pill, okay? Because they claim that that's the procedure pill, which is not. They're going to come for birth control, okay, because they love to talk about how hormonally it disrupts women, even though that is a literal necessity for a lot of women, excluding pregnancy, right? Taking pregnancy off the table. Women that have hormonal imbalances, reproductive problems, etc. It's none of our business, but they need it. Think about that for a minute. Like, it's just all of this is always on women. Have a conversation with somebody on the other side of things before you say things like, oh, well, all life needs to be protected. We're all God's children. I can't tell you that we're not. I can't dispute that. But at the same time, we are on the same playing field, and none of us is above or below anyone's decisions. If someone needs to make a medical decision for themselves, they have every right to do so, and they shouldn't have to run state to state to do it. They shouldn't have to be worried if they're going to be charged with murder for protecting their own rights. Let me give you a scenario before I go. I just want you to think on this, okay? If you're still on that side, it's like, Margaret, I'm not rocking with you. Maybe you'll rock with me after this. So let's say a woman, young adult, don't have a lot of money, struggling, okay? Let's say, God forbid, something happens to this woman. She's R-worded, okay? She's R-worded. She ends up getting pregnant, and she's within one of these Bible Belt states that hate women. So she's R-worded. She ends up pregnant. She can't get the procedure done, and then she can't cross state lines, because if she does, her state has a law where that would be considered. So she has to stay within her own state and face this pregnancy that she did not consent to. So then she ends up having the baby. She has a traumatic birth because obviously she didn't want to have the baby to begin with. So now she's forced to love a child that she didn't consent to. She's forced to be a mom even though she doesn't have any money to sustain being a mother. And then on top of that, she also has to live off the government because she needs help. That mental, financial stress, you cannot tell me that it's right to bestow that upon a woman in the name of religion. You can't. And if you can, you either might be the most persuasive person on earth or absolute trash. I don't know, maybe the two things are parallel. I'm not exactly sure. But just to give you that scenario that's very real and that has happened to multiple women. You go into this, you are a victim, and then now you are a mom. And then you are a mom that cannot connect because of what happened to you, so then you're a bad mom. And then on top of that, you have no money, so then you have to live off the government, and people want to roast on you for that. And you are suffering with the mental and physical baggage of an event that you didn't even consent to. Think on that. and then tell me if Roe v. Wade needs to be overturned. Thank you very much for listening to me today. I know this was a long one, but I had a lot to get off my chest. I love you guys very much, and I will see you in the next one.
A majority on the bench is doing things that a majority of Americans don't want. We don't want to dismember people when they're in the womb. Yeah, you want to dismember them when they come out. No living wages, no unions, no health care, no dental, no eye care. What else? Housing prices going astronomically high. People can't afford their fucking rent in pretty much every state. To add on top of that, it takes about 3.5 wages to actually live. Student loan debt, medical debt, terrible treatment for our veterans, terrible treatment for people who are disabled, terrible treatment for people who need government assistance, the lack of representation, food industries literally feeding people poison, people buying apps for 43, 44, whatever the fuck $billion, but yet Flint still can't have drinkable water. We spend more money on our fucking athletes than we do the people who are in need. Kids getting shot dead in their fucking classrooms, but yet we're still rolling back gun laws. We have how many vacant Airbnbs and hotel rooms and houses, but yet how many homeless people do we have? Companies are literally killing this earth just for a little bit of money. Literally a laughingstock to other countries. Bombing fucking children. Literally our past president is being criminally prosecuted right now. Can't forget the trans laws that are going on in Florida right now. No one say gay, no one say gay translates to fuck the gays. That's kind of all I hear. But abortion's the thing. We can't even hold most cops accountable for killing people that are fucking here.